Hi, welcome to episode 2 of Bendigo Talks. We're here today chatting about the beautiful heritage of Bendigo and the way that some of our buildings have been reinvigorated into places and spaces people can really enjoy. My name's Elisha. I'm the owner here of Percy and Percy. To my left I've got Craig.
Hi, I'm Craig Lightfoot. I'm the owner and developer of the Bendigo Mining Exchange, also called the Beehive or Allen's Walk.
I'm Jill Hanlon. I'm the owner and tour guide on Bendigo Walking Tours.
Hi, I'm Peter Valentine and I'm the new owner of 18 View Street, which did start life as the Bendigo Post Office, then Sandhurst Trustees, and now an antique centre.
Well, welcome to Percy and Percy. I started this cafe nearly 8 years ago. I just always had a burning desire to open a cafe. So I set myself a bit of a goal. We found this gorgeous little old building, which was an old corner store, and decided to take on the big project and turn it into a cafe, which we have now that we're sitting in today. We got some information about the previous owners back in the 40s, 50s through to the 80s, and found out the story that there had been two owners named both at different times, and both their names had been Percy. And that was where we sort of gave the idea of let's call this little shop Percy and Percy. There had been a couple of other places had started converting little old milk bars and corner stores into cafes. And we just sort of could see that, you know, Bendigo's food and wine and coffee, you know, that culture was changing in Bendigo. So thought that why not, let's have a go.
So I think one of the exciting things from my point of view is, I mean, the food speaks for itself. I mean, I've been here a few times for breakfast and yeah, love coming back. So it's a great venue for great food.
So do the scones too, they're good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Secret recipe.
Uh-huh.
Peter, I'd love to hear about your building.
Yeah, well, it's obviously been a big project for myself to take on. To see a building of this stature and quality, it was really about finding what we could do with it and speaking with other people in Bendigo. I mean, they were all saying, wouldn't it be great to, in the arts precinct, to have another gallery and venue for education, etc. So just having a bit of vision to see how we could convert it into a wonderful big venue for everyone to come and see and appreciate. And just from looking around other buildings and being a lover of the art and architecture in Bendigo, to do the renovation we did, just opened it up again to its former glory, and that was the exciting thing for us to now showcase it to all the people from Bendigo and surrounds that want to come to Bendigo and see its rich history and architecture. It's been a real privilege, and to be the custodian of it now, it's a real honour, to be honest. So yeah. Obviously it was the first government built post office in Bendigo, and that was built in 1858. And then as Bendigo was growing at a rapid rate, the wealth and gold they were finding and everything else, that it really started to grow in a rapid rate, and the demand for more space was quite prevalent. And of course they expanded the big hall at the back, which is I think one of the hidden gems, to be honest, of Bendigo, because from the outside you don't see it.
Yeah, peak period of wealth.
Yeah, it was incredible.
So was it
growth.
Bendigo's first post office?
It was the first government-built post office, but there was I mean, I've done a little bit of research, and they did say that there was actually tents put up in 1852, which was quite interesting, that people used tents as post offices before they did that.
One of the things I was humoured finding out when we were researching for their walking tours was that the retrofitted tower on top of Camp Hill Primary School was actually put there as a fire lookout, but also they would raise the flag twice a week to indicate that the mail was in, which I thought was delightful, given it's still there. But you know, that whole area of Roslyn Park, and the fact that you know, in 1851 when those two women picked up those first bits of gold, and how quickly things moved from that point on, and so you can only imagine, we know and love it as that extraordinarily beautiful Roslyn Park, but you can only imagine it back in 1851 when it was heaving with, 40,000 people from all over the world, all over Australia, converging into that area and hoping for the best. 700 tonnes of gold came out of Bendigo. I mean, we not only became... I've got the conversion into kilograms if anybody wants that, but it sounds so much more sensational in tonnes.
You get a bigger number in
Yeah.
kilograms, though.
And what that meant, it was we not only became the engine room of Melbourne and basically helping to build Melbourne, we became the engine room of the colony here in Bendigo. You ask people, have you got any connection to this part of the world? And often people say, oh, no, I don't think so. But in fact, I think we all have, because it changed people's lives forever, whether you were living here or not. The fact that money trickled out into the other states, a lot of it was sent back to England. But what that meant for all of us, but certainly we get to enjoy that extraordinary heritage, living in Bendigo every day, walking around and imagining what it would have been like back then.
It's amazing. I hear you talk about how much gold was found here, and the rumours I've heard is that Bendigo produced the most gold in the world at that particular time. So on a worldwide scale, it really put us on the map. So.
We had mines down to a mile. They were extraordinarily deep. And when you think about 1851 to the end of the century, it's not a long time purported to be the world's richest city. So going from a sheep farm to the world's richest city is, I don't know whether too many cities in the world
isn't it? When you put it in that context. Yeah. And that wasn't that long ago. So Bendigo was the world's richest city for a period of time. That's pretty amazing stuff. And I guess the bit what you were talking about before, Jill, is that's the bit that led on to all the significant buildings around the town, which still has still left a legacy for today.
Well, you two are living the dream in that way, around being in those buildings and imagining what they were like when people were coming through those doors.
Well, so much of what we do today and what Bendigo's about today is still linked to gold, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's through the buildings and through the use of the buildings and that sort of stuff now. Renovating the mining exchange, it's been mostly positive, and a lot of that's been to do with the really clear direction I had from Heritage Victoria. There really is a push for practical use and community use community use of heritage buildings. And one of the things with the mining exchange was that the first floor in particular and the second floor hadn't been used for 70 years. It had actually been blocked off.
Yeah, I see that really exciting, the way you've actually repurposed the building so that you've taken the history and preserved what's important, but you've actually repurposed it so that people can use it today. Anyone travelling through Bendigo can actually come and explore those original features and see what it was, and see what the time's gone past were.
It creates such a buzz, doesn't it? Like,
it does.
People, you walk past buildings that are boarded up for so long and think, I wonder what's in there, I wonder what happened, what the purpose was, and then it opens up and you think, wow.
Well, look what you've done here.
Yeah.
But after all that, you're really happy with what you did, and obviously it was a big project to take on, so...
Yeah. Oh, look. It's been interesting for me because I've seen it every week, so I haven't seen the dramatic change. And look, it was pretty bloody disastrous when we took it over. But you could see behind we'd go in there and we'd pull a piece of plaster off. You could see these decorative cornices in behind the wall. And go, oh yeah, that's cool.
Jill, you're like a fountain of knowledge on Bendigo. I'm really intrigued. I feel like how you are. I'd love to come on one of your walking tours, even though I'm born and bred local Bendigo. I went to Europe 2 years ago and that was my first time, and I was sort of really surprised on the architecture comparison, the similarities to what we have here in Bendigo.
And that's our boom style architecture.
Yeah.
When you have buildings like that, you can throw money in, you can decorate them and keep decorating them, and columns that don't hold anything up, and balconies you can't access. And if people watching this have been to Bendigo, you'll look at them and think, oh. And I think being able to celebrate that with people who come to visit us is such a special thing to be able to do, such a privilege, I think, because it kind of is contained within our CBD. You don't have to walk far to get a sense of events, people, buildings, good coffee,
But more than that, Jill, it's actually interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I was rambling then. Is anyone actually interested in what I'm saying?
No, it's fascinating stuff.
Something else that's amazing, which you're talking about travelling around the world, and I always come back, as I've travelled a lot around the world as well, to Europe and places like that, and I still come back and look at our cathedral.
Yeah.
And I just are amazed at, the
Isn't
marble
it
floors, the
ridiculously large for
Yeah.
a city of
For such a small-
110,000 people?
Yeah.
But the architecture inside, the marble, the Gothic pillars, and it really is something to see. So, and it is on a world level. I mean, it's world class. So it's certainly a place worth looking at. So.
We're so lucky here in Bendigo. We've got so much rich history, and we're so fortunate. We've got people as well who are entrepreneurial and willing to take on a challenge of an old building, whether it how big or small it may be. And we have got something really beautiful here to offer, which is exciting for a little regional city like Bendigo. What do people love on your tour, Jill? Like, what's one thing that really makes them go, wow?
I guess when we thought about doing the tours was just keeping it simple, and maybe when people left thinking, God, I thought I knew somewhere like Bendigo, but I didn't know that. So I think that's always refreshing to hear that. And I think it's appreciating the many dimensions of heritage in our city that they may not appreciate, and beyond old buildings, but who is responsible for that. And the other thing is that we're very walkable. So you can arrive in the centre of town and go in any real direction, and whether it's from arriving on train or the airport, and you're in town and you can pretty well make a day of it. Whether it's the gallery, glass of wine at the end of the day, a really good lunch somewhere, and you're in this, what we call our kind of living museum. People often arrive going, God, I wish we had stayed another night. And I know I sound like I'm marketing, but that is a common response. Yeah,
look, I hear a lot of that as well. We have a lot of visitors coming in, and one of the beauties is park the car and then, go and see the art gallery for 2 or 3 hours. It's always got something amazing on.
Yeah.
Wander down. Obviously, we've got another great gallery and everything down further. Go to the wine bank for lunch. I mean, an incredible place it is there. And then, of course, just walking up through View Street really is exciting. So, But as I say, once again, you can go on to the cathedral if you want to wander around there. The way that the old jail's been repurposed, and Yalumba Theatre. I mean, they have great events that are going on all the time, so all sorts of festivals. But there's just so much so close.
And even like Dispensary Lane, that's a beautiful part of Bendigo with such a rich history as well that's been repurposed.
It is.
Barbershops, clothing
that
stores.
laneway culture, you can just see it starting to develop again as well. And hopefully we're a bit of a part of that, because there's 3 or 4 different laneways linked to the back of Allens Walk and the Mining Exchange, and there's a new accommodation going in there, and that's actually hopefully going to enliven that. So.
Wow. Peter, do you have a favourite part of Bendigo that you like to show off?
As I say, I just love the architecture of View Street. I think it's just such a beautiful street with so many of the old banks and the pubs and everything else that's in there. Capital Theatre. I mean, once again.
And I love Roslyn Park. I just find that such a beautiful space to take my kids. Free and easy, run around, roll around on the grass. It's beautiful.
Well, the National Trust has called it one of the best examples of an urban park in Australia. Because it's not locked up, it's in the centre of town. You know, we like to think it's in the centre of town, but we just got a city that's around it.
But all the other events that Bendigo Tourism put on there, the food and wine festivals, I mean at Easter time, the parades they have around there, and obviously at Christmas time as well. I think they still have Santa Claus going on a fire truck through there, and there's just so many things going on there.
I can hear the
Carols,
ringing.
yeah, it really is a wonderful park to use.
Yeah.
People ask, people say, I've got 2 hours or I've got 3 hours, what do you think I should do? And you know, for some people it is a drive out to the Botanical Gardens or Bendigo Pottery or going down Deborah Mine. You know, have you ever done anything like that? Oh, that sounds interesting. So down they go, or Fortuna, you know, Lancel's original home or one of them. So I think, again, these aren't big distances people have to drive to get to those places.
Like you said, the Central Deborah gold mine, I mean, if anyone's got kids, they just love going down and fossicking for gold. I mean, it's a pretty exciting thing to do to keep them occupied for a while, and
Sure.
and obviously possibly take home a souvenir of some sort as well. So.
And even starting this end at the tram depot, you know, going through the workshops, seeing the trams, you know, being fixed up or reinstated, jump on the tram, rattle down through Bendigo, past the fountain, past the cathedral.
You'd hear it all the time.
We do, especially the Santa tram. Okay, well, thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Great chatting today.
Always good to catch up.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us for Bendigo Talks. We hope you've enjoyed listening to us. We really look forward to welcoming you to Bendigo soon, and hope that you can enjoy some of our beautiful heritage we've got in our beautiful city.